I don't read a magazine.
Yeah, please do that. Please read a magazine.
Okay.
Read it aloud. That would be nice. Maybe that can be an episode.
Ooh.
I don't think you want me to read this aloud.
Why, is it dirty?
What kind of magazine is this?
Filthy. Well, it's a show guide for the 1993 Winter CES. So it's a bunch of advertorials about exhibitors and what games they are displaying.
Oh, that's interesting.
American Softworks recently released Skulljagger: Revolt of the Westikins for the Super NES. At Winter CES, the company will display 3 new products. Super James Bond and Super Troll Land are both upcoming American software titles for the Super NES. The other, Trolls in Crazy Land, is for the Game Boy. It's actually not. It's for the NES. So they got that wrong.
Hate to see that.
Full page ad for the Supervision, the weird Taiwanese Game Boy knockoff. Very cool. Apparently there was a software publisher called Azeroth.
The same place that Warcraft takes place.
That's right. Before it was the World of Warcraft world, they made an Inspector Gadget game for computers.
Whoa. Yeah, I heard they had the game dev class, but they took it away. They just axed it from the game.
Oh, they also did Interactive Old Testament. So I imagine a bunch of QuickTime events, personally.
Shoot, Jean-Luc! Damn it, shoot! The mission, Jean-Luc! Have you forgotten how many of us have already given our lives for insert credit? This is episode 261 of the only video game podcast where we provide a curated discourse of topics to a panel of video game experts kept apace by a horrible buzzer. I'm Alex Jaffe, and my favorite game when I was 13 was probably The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker.
Okay, my name is Frank Spalli. My favorite game when I was 13 would probably be like summer 95. Let's see. Sonic and Knuckles was Christmas 94. God, I think 95 is kind of when I stopped playing stuff. So I think the last game that I received at that point was Donkey Kong Country. So let's go with that.
Donkey Kong Country 1. All right, acceptable. Joining us this week is our own former substitute host and the event organizer for EVO, Andrés Velasco Coll is here.
Oh, yeah. Hi. I'm Nothing XS, aka Andrés Velasco Coll, and my favorite video game when I was 13, God, that was so long ago. Wait, that was 1998. That means, by default, it must be The King of Fighters, 1998.
They put the date right up there so you wouldn't get it wrong. More video games should do that.
I nailed it.
All right. Also joining us, creative producer at Focus Entertainment, editor at PC Gamer, and writer in exile of Fanbyte, Fūnk-é Joseph.
Yo, yo, yo. Hey, how's it going, gamers?
You're on the wrong show. So
Oops.
Our listeners are game likers.
Game likers. I'm
Yes.
so sorry.
Game enjoyers, you could say.
Game
Yes.
enjoyers.
We are defined by our enjoyment of video games, not our gaming.
Nice.
Because it's possible to enjoy a game without playing it. I don't think I've played a video game in quite a while.
Absolutely.
I just bought one.
Yes.
Well, my favorite game when I was 13 has to be Portal 2. The cake is a lie. People still say that?
That was Portal 1.
Okay. Well, it's the truth now.
It's fair.
Incredible.
Was there a cake in Portal 2? Wasn't there like an ending with cake?
I think the ending with cake is in Portal 1 as well.
I think so.
Yeah. They tell you the cake is alive, but there's a cake
Yeah.
regardless at the end.
There's a music video thing happening at the end, too. They do a lot of self-reference
Yeah.
stuff going
The
on.
best kind of comedy is self-referential comedy. That's what I say. Here's our first topic this week. Sonic Frontiers is out now to middling reviews. And the last Sonic game that everybody liked and had liked in some time is still Sonic Mania. Is 3D Sonic a failed experiment?
Oh, man.
Oof.
No? Probably not. I'm gonna defend my Sonic homies here for a second because let's be real. I don't think anyone that actually actively enjoys something like a Sonic Adventure Battle, etc., like those Sonic games, like there's obviously going to be like people who are like, oh, I don't know, I don't like this. It's not like the Sonics I remember. But I'm not trying to say like don't think critically about them. Those games have like their jank, and this might be like the Dino Please infecting my brain a little bit, where I've learned to kind of enjoy a little bit of everything. Those games have a lot of fun in their own merits. Like, I'm not trying to be all like, there's obviously like, oh, this is the version of Sonic that's quite Kino, and then like be petulant about it. But like, there's a lot of fun things about Sonic Frontiers that people are kind of glossing over because everyone's sort of stuck in this weird, it's gotta be the perfect Sonic game, and if it's not, it's dog water. It's like, no, dude, it can just be a fun Sonic game. At this point, though, like 3D Sonic is it's generated like its own personality at this point. You know what you're getting when you're getting into a 3D Sonic game. You know the motion's not going to be exactly quite like it should be in a AAA experience. And if you're playing a Sonic game, that's not the point. It's like, I don't know, people being mad at fighting games for having weird motion inputs at this point.
So are the 3D Sonic and 2D Sonic games essentially different kinds of games then?
Absolutely.
Do you not classify them in the same franchise?
No, they're the same franchise. They're all Sonic games. But yeah, absolutely a 2D Sonic speed platformer. I don't know what you would call a Sonic game truly other than a Sonic game. But in the same way that a 2D Sonic game is very much, you play it and you're like, a Sonic game. And the game that is most representative of that now is Sonic Mania. I feel like you play a 3D Sonic and you know exactly what you're getting yourself into, which is you're going really fast and it don't quite work, but it does.
Yeah, that's part of it, isn't it?
In its own weird way, you're like, yeah, that feels like home in a way.
Yeah, I totally hear that. That's the Sonic game that I grew up on, Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. And I just like played through all the modes as the hero and then the dark or evil mode. And so many parts of that game just really are emblazoned in my memory. Like the theme song, just the first level running down those San Francisco like streets with the giant truck chasing you.
Sure.
I don't know. Like it may have fell off in the recent years, but I still think 3D Sonic is really fun and offers up a whole different realm of what Sonic can be that the 2D games simply can't do, like the Chow Garden and just like that whole training system and how you could really just raise a little demon monster thing and give it all these traits from different animals that you save. I was like, whoa, this is a whole another game mode inside of a Sonic game that I'm used to, but it's also offering all these elements that I couldn't find in a 2D side-scrolling platformer.
Sure, the fishing game in Sonic Adventure 1 comes to mind. Maybe 3D Sonic is just a space to try weird stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think that's true. No, I think there is this very specific, like, sort of cadence. I don't know, a specific kind of feel to 3D Sonic that is 3D
like
Sonic.
A vibe.
And, yeah, vibe is maybe it. And I don't know. I think this new one's pretty cool. I only played, I don't know if anyone here has played it. I played it far enough to the exact point where it's like, okay, the world's open, go do what you want. Like I played just all the training stuff basically. I don't know, having a pretty good time. Like Sonic's about just kind of the freedom of running around in the same way that like Mario is about the freedom of like moving through jumping. I think Sonic's about the freedom of moving through running, and so far, and I'm sure I'm gonna unlock all kinds of crazy crap. It feels pretty good to run around. I am surprised that I like a peaceful, quiet, contemplative Sonic the Hedgehog. That makes no sense to me. Yet it's cool. Because like the Sonic game in my head is like the realization of the city from Sonic Adventure 1, except I can actually run up the buildings and stuff and like have fun in that world.
A Flash game.
Yeah. But I don't know, I'm having a pretty good time. I haven't played a 3D Sonic since the demo of Sonic Adventure 2. I never played the full game. But this, I don't know, feels like coming home, but also its own thing. And maybe I'll get to the part where I complain about the game. But so far I'm like, yeah, having a good time. Run around. I touch that thing and then suddenly he's grinding on a rail that doesn't make any sense. And then he spits me out somewhere else and it's fine. Press a button to get on that thing over there. Cool. Yeah. Walk a little bit into this box and then the box explodes and then a coin comes out. Just kind of touch it, gently and then it explodes. That's kind of fun.
So it's not a failed experiment, but a different beast.
I don't know. It's a video game.
Okay.
it's
all games are the same. I hear it for
action button. Bottom line about Sonic Frontiers is that it's a video game.
It's a video game.
Yes, it's a video game with a fishing mini game that's actually really funny.
Okay.
They put so many things into that, like just random fish, and I was shocked because we kept like fishing. I was streaming with my friend John Warren, and there were just endless fish. We were there for like 10 minutes and we didn't catch the same fish twice. It was giving Sega bass fishing, which was really funny.
All right, here's our next topic. How do games best emulate the fantasy of being able to fly?
I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is there has to be some weight to it. There has to be some kind of gliding. Like you can't just like free camera float. You know what I mean?
If it's too floaty, it doesn't work.
Yeah, that doesn't feel like flying. Flying has to feel like you can fall.
Right.
So I really like the Mario World / Arkham Asylum cape, or Arkham City, I guess, right? Like the sort of like dive to somehow gain momentum that brings you back up. I don't think there's any real physics involved there, like remotely, but for some reason that actually feels like flying to me more than most flying.
Because you're earning every other loot by
earning it, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I am kind of like swimming my way back up into the air. And bottom line is that I think Batman should have made a Mario World like sound when he went or whatever.
That would have helped.
Yeah.
I died a lot in that like Ra's al Ghul dream tutorial doing that the first time.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't. Yeah, you should get good at that. Yeah.
I did get good. It just took a while.
Okay, all right, good.
You gave me flashbacks pretty hard there. Yeah, I super agree with the take on the Batman cape. Oh man, that was actually like so fun. The Batwings, pretty much. The other thing too is like it doesn't always have to have a sense of weight. I think a lot of it sometimes, although the sense of weight, like really feeling satisfied with like the fantasy of flying, obviously having weight to it and it having like a physics that you would more or less expect. I remember playing Pilot Wings when I was a kid originally on the Super Nintendo and being so like flabbergasted at how complicated it was to fly when you didn't know what you were doing. And then after you figured it out, how awesome it was to actually feel like you were up in the air and actually staying up in the air and landing and having control over it. Like that was always super awesome. So I feel like, but that was so much different than even nowadays playing just something where you can just go and you like take off. I feel like the mechanics don't always have to represent the flight in so long as it feels like ultimately you're in a control of it and able to move in a way that's pleasing in a world that feels appropriately sized for your newfound ability, if that makes any sense.
I hear that.
It's going to be a weird take, but I know a lot of people don't think of MMO movement much, and I also don't really think of MMOs much, but I did get absorbed into the Final Fantasy XIV vortex, and it's weirdly nice to fly in that game when you're like on a chocobo, with the understanding that obviously it's sort of like freeform movement, but a lot of it is like the world is so large and pretty, and you do feel like you're moving so far away and so far above from things that it do be feeling kind of nice. Like it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be like, oh, it moves like you would expect when flying. It just kind of feels nice to look and to feel it, like the freedom of it, maybe, because we so much associate flying with freedom.
Yeah.
For me, it's like, I do hear what Frank's saying about the weightiness, but I find that too much weightiness is kind of not what I'm looking for, because I want more of a fantasy. Like I think of Minecraft or other games with a glider where it really takes into account like how much wind is pushing back against you and how realistic it would be for you to fly with this material. And that kind of stuff doesn't land well with me. The stuff I do enjoy is more, I guess, fantastical, like more Princess Peach's float, which just stunts, like in Smash Bros or something, stunts the momentum of the match, and you kind of just stay there for a moment. I know it's not flying, but floating is like the closest thing for me. Most of the games I play are pretty grounded. Like just playing a lot of Death Stranding, which is walking around. But when I do go for flying, that's the stuff that I look for. Stuff that like really feels magical rather than realistic.
That makes sense. All right. I think we've covered it. Here's our next question. As a developer, what precautions should you take when dealing with a major publisher to avoid being taken advantage of?
Oh, man.
Okay, so my experience with this is all classic game compilations. My approach to not being messed with is to deliver things at the very final second when it's too late for them to say no. Does that answer the question?
That's a good one. Better to ask forgiveness than permission. That's
why our games are good.
Yeah,
nice.
That's nice. I'm not a game developer, but I do know that larger corporations just want money and don't care about people. So it feels like kind of a hard thing to combat. Like, how do you know how far to go with this publisher when they could drop you like a dime at whenever? So it's kind of scary.
It is. I think almost all of us have to deal with that on some kind of level.
This is basic stuff, but just don't sign a bad contract. Like, really look over your terms, or, if you're very highly independent and don't feel good about it, just, find a legal service that you can contract with and take that seriously, because there's some very predatory publishers out there who are taking advantage of tiny teams thinking that they don't know any better. And I've seen some just bonkers terms.
Let's hear some.
Gosh, should I name names here? Sure.
Spill the tea.
I saw one from Atari once that was essentially, if we don't approve of your second milestone, you owe us $100,000.
What?
What?
And it was essentially like, we can decide at any time we don't like your work, and not only do we cancel it, you just kind of owe us a lot of money if we decide we don't like your work. Yeah. This is not the current Atari, but it was Atari.
The guys who made Defender really got screwed on that one.
Listen, if I had an answer to this, I'd be rich.
That's fair.
I wish
you're only not rich because you've been taken advantage of.
No, I'm just saying, like, I'd be rich because of, like, I'd be the person that I found out how to do it, and then probably I'd still die in poverty. Whatever. My point being, if someone had the answer to this and it was actionable, we'd be in a much better place. But it's kind of hard because so many moving parts and people with divergent, even though everyone's kind of working towards the same thing of, hey, ship game, so many divergent opinions on how ship game can be accomplished, and how, the work environment is a bunch of people trying to do the same thing or trying to get to the same place with different opinions on how to do it.
I don't think this is a big ask. I'm just trying to get you to solve late stage capitalism in 6 minutes.
No, I got nothing for you, man. I wish.
I do think, for a more serious answer, I guess it's just collectively raising our standards as an industry, and being more transparent about the deals that are happening, and like things like salaries and stuff like that in the industry, because the publishers will screw over people in the same deal, like, and not really tell other people like what someone else is getting paid, and just keep people in the dark for things like that. And that's how these issues start to blossom and just become like a whole garden of a mess.
So ultimately, the answer is unionize.
Yep.
Yeah. Collective bargaining is the way that you protect yourself, I suppose.
Or bare minimum, just like tell people what you're paid,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a practice we could all stand to get behind.
Like, if someone emails you and they're like, yo, I noticed that you've worked with this publisher before, what were your terms like? Just answer them.
Yeah.
Don't be precious about that.
What's the worst that could happen?
I just immediately had this like flash forward to prison in my brain.
Yeah, I was waiting for the
just
slam
like
cut.
in like a striped suit with one of those like little hats that you wear, just grabbing onto the bars like a Carmen Sandiego villain.
A tiny little pickaxe, like you hold in 2 fingers, like on a rock. Like, it's just what you do for the rest of your life. Exactly.
Well, even with that consequence hanging over your head, it's a good practice.
Yeah, do it anyway.
How do you curate a video game zine?
I did this. Well, you want to get a team of writers and designers and just creators in general that you really mess with.
Yeah.
And then I think by proxy, the games that they enjoy and the media that they enjoy will just be pretty easy for them to pull from. Then you ask them to just write or make a video or make a cool design out of it, and you make some cool stuff together. And it's a lot of work, absolutely a lot of work, but it's definitely cool to do.
What comes from this? Like, I've never read a video game zine before. I don't think I've ever read a zine before.
Zines are awesome.
I don't know anything about this culture.
Zines are so cool. Zines are just like short stories of anything, fiction or nonfiction.
Yeah.
And they can be very DIY. I mean, that's the whole spirit of it, that it is just like what people are making with the tools that they have and the experience and the friends and the materials that they can just pull from their real life. Yeah. When you make a zine, I think you're just trying to share what you really love or a feeling that you're really passionate about, even if it's like a more melancholic zine. But Yeah, the one that I made, Play Underground, with my pals, we really just focus on sharing the cool, smaller indie games, because I feel like everything I was seeing at the time was just AAA, poof, Call of Duty. Like, did you know that God of War 2 is out? Poo, 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 poo. So I really wanted to highlight the stuff that is a bit smaller and people may miss. And I think zines are perfect for that, whether it's digital or in person with a little notebook.
I have a zine that I like to buy that I have plugged in general chat, which is a dank zine, which is made by this streamer called NK. And I think it really just comes down to, if you have something to talk about and you have other people who also want to talk about that thing, then all you got to do is grab your friends, get some articles done for it, get some art whipped up, and publish it, right? Like, it really comes down to just, what do you want to talk about, right? Like, what do you want to talk about with other people who may also have the same interests? Like, NK's zine is like a random retro zine, and it could be talking about anything. They've had like a Lord BBH article there about like some old like fighting games. I don't recall exactly which one because I just got it and I haven't had time to read it. But like, there's MSX2 articles in there all the time, stuff that I didn't really know about like at all, that I just sit there and read because they're so interesting. Like, I imagine if I ever wanted to make a zine, I would grab like topics I'm super passionate about, and that like I have a lot of things, and friends that have like topics about that they're super passionate about, and we just be like, hey yo, this is like the XS zine. We're gonna talk about all this dumb stuff. Whatever, let's go. It's great. I like it. Maybe you'll like it.
Yeah.
It's ultimately, that's what it is, right? It's kind of like the forum.
Yeah, you're right. Exactly. I was gonna ask Frank, was the original insert credit a zine?
If you think about it.
Does the zine have to be printed?
No.
I think so. Yeah, because there was sort of a common tone among articles that was like, hey, we're all trying to do something weird and new at the same time and evolve it by challenging each other. And that sounds very zine-like to me, right? Like and it's very specifically, kind of like the earlier example. Let's talk about stuff that people don't talk about. Let's be the Kentia Hall of video game websites. And I'm speaking for this website as if I had a big, like, I wrote like 2 articles, dude.
Sure, but
I hung out with Brandon.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You were there.
I was around. But yeah, I think sure. I remember specifically, it wasn't a blog. That was not a term that Brandon liked. So let's call it a zine.
Yeah,
I think he'd approve of that. Speaking for him.
As someone who posted an insert credit way back when, yeah, dude, insert credit was absolutely a zine. Like, up on was back in the forums, it was absolutely a zine. If you think about it, if you read some of those articles right now, yeah, absolutely, it would feel a lot like it. Yeah.
I mean, it practically had a photocopier aesthetic. I mean, with the typeface and everything. Yeah,
it really did.
Zine is just magazine, but short form, and like a physical zine is just like a shorter zine or magazine in general. So what you're doing is just sharing something like you would in a magazine, but zine is just like smaller form.
I think it's more than just smaller. I think it's looser. I think that's a defining feature of a zine, is that you don't have to be too precious.
True.
Yeah, I guess so. All right. Well, I think I know a lot more now.
Yeah, I ended up posting like a little picture, and obviously people who are listening to this can't tell, but I could see this article on insert credit once upon a time, maybe with not as many graphics. The graphics would be in black and white, but I could see it.
Oh yeah.
Is this from Dankscene?
It is from the Dankscene, yeah.
Yeah. That's some insert credit there.
All right, we've solved it.
NK is cool.
I love NK so much.
I guess insert credit invented zines. You're welcome, the culture.
No, come on, no, please.
Hold up.
I'm not taking it back.
Wait a sec.
Yes, please, could we please strike that one from the record? Thank you very much.
No, that's permanent. It's time to play the Adaptation Game. This is a segment we infrequently do where I give you a premise that you have to adapt from one medium to another. Video games are somehow involved. This week, you're searching for an ideal video game to adapt into a daytime TV game show to run alongside the likes of Let's Make a Deal and The Price is Right. The constraints are that it can't be a trivia game, and you can't play the game itself on the show.
So it's got to be daytime TV. So fighting games are right out. Because someone getting their face caved in.
Well, okay, so define...
That's prime time.
Well, when you say playing the game, can you play a representation that is like the original game? You just mean you can't literally play the video game?
Exactly.
Okay,
there is no video game playing on this show.
Then fighting games could still be in. You could have like a talk show interview style thing, but they get really just like into sumo suit or like a really big fist, cardboard on their hand, and they just like fight each other. They could do that. I would watch that in the morning.
How would you emulate a specific video game with that other than being a generic fighting show, American Gladiator style?
I think that's all in the camera angles and graphics, right? Just like have people, the studio audience in the back, and then on the stage there is like just people are moving left to right only. Emulate that 2D vibe. I think you could get some like even practical effect health bars going above.
Could you somehow emulate area attacks or distance attacks like Hadokens?
I mean, yeah, with an intern or something, like carrying a blue ball. There's a lot of stuff you could do here.
I was thinking maybe like a wrist-mounted laser pointer that charges up or something, and if it hits the other player, then they take damage.
Oh shit, yeah, I like that.
I mean, the easy answer, if you want it to be easy and kind of like petulant about it, is you could do kind of like laser tag, but style it as something else. Like, you know, you're doing like team laser tag. I still don't know that would be a game show. When I'm thinking game show, I'm thinking about, like you said, Price is Right. What could compete in that time slot for family-friendly entertainment that you could adapt from a video game that can't be trivia? Like, that is a hell of a question.
Thank you.
So I have a small list going. The first thing I wrote is Nickelodeon's Fortnite.
Okay.
I'm picturing something kind of like Legends of the Hidden Temple. It's just like, you know, you're going around and you're not literally shooting each other, obviously, but there's some kind of big prop city. I don't know. I also wrote Candy Crush. I think could be adapted into.
That's already a game show, Candy Crush.
Great. I won't elaborate then because the real one's probably better than mine. The third thing I wrote is Fruit Ninja, and it's super dangerous. So I'll just let that one just rest as it is.
Oh, I like that one.
The fourth one I wrote is Carmen Sandiego, Just Like It Was, because that seemed to work pretty well.
Yeah,
why not?
That's the best one.
God, I miss that show so much.
Unfortunately, it is trivia based.
Okay, well we can do something about that, and then the fifth one I wrote is Among Us. I've never played Among Us, but it sure seems like something that could be replicated. In real life.
I think you could do a real Among Us game. Yeah.
How did I spend the entire pandemic playing an aggressive amount of Among Us and did not think of Among Us? What is wrong with me? You absolutely could do that. It's just an offshoot of Werewolf/Mafia. The mechanics for it are very straightforward. Yes, you could absolutely do Among Us.
Well, live action Among Us is just the thing as well.
Well, now it's an official thing. It's not a bootleg thing. Now they're getting money.
Our friend Heather Ann Campbell was in a pilot for a werewolf game show that never made it to air. So the concept does have legs.
I'm picturing something kind of like a Japanese game show with Among Us.
Yeah.
Could be.
Like kind of a hidden camera. Let's see what they do kind of show.
One of the players is made of chocolate, but they don't know which.
Incredible.
Oh my gosh.
So
that's how it is.
Those are my answers.
Good answers.
I also kind of like, I need to flesh this out more, but I like the idea of there's some kind of cross section between escape room and point and click adventure that I haven't quite meshed together into a game show yet, but I'm kind of imagining like someone controlling the actions of a real person, like use candle on zombie.
Kind of like a Twitch plays Pokemon, but like the studio audience plays escape room.
Right. Like in The Price is Right, when everybody behind you in the audience is shouting out what you think the price would be.
So like your moves, it's not just you have to escape. Like there's you could die or whatever.
Yeah.
Not literally, but we're not going to kill people for real on this show. We're going to represent death.
But what about the ratings?
Yeah.
That's more of a 6 o'clock show. We're talking noontime here.
I remind you that the ratings demand death.
They do. I think all these considered, I'm going to go with the Among Us one.
Okay.
That's our winner. Frank, you're in the lead. I forgot to mention this show has a score in the system.
Oh,
so
what?
somebody wins at the end. We'll be
incredible.
right back. You'll be able to ruminate on that while we take a quick break. We'll be right back. This is the point of the show where if you need to go to the bathroom, you can use the bathroom. If you need a drink, you can get a drink.
I need to kill a spider.
Go do that. Welcome back to Insert Credit. It's time for us to go to the dirt bag. This is the part of almost every episode where I select a question submitted to us by our good patrons at patreon.com/insertcredit, where you, for mere dollars a month, can get access to the form that allows you to submit these questions, get bonus episodes every month, and other exclusive treats and goodies that you'll have to discover the nature of for yourself when you subscribe to that Patreon. This week's question comes from Bearcabin, who asks, considering Game Freak was a video game magazine before becoming a video game developer, what sorts of developers would other video game magazines have become?
Pretty bad ones.
Yeah. God, these questions are loaded today.
Yeah.
Yo, these questions got hands. Hold on. Would EGM have made the memeiest possible games of all time? Would they have just gone full bonkers?
Which era of EGM are we talking
90s.
Okay, so 90s EGM was still very much worshipping Japan. And specifically looking for reasons to be upset about censorship in the US from the Japanese originals. Like, they were super into that in the 90s. So I think they would try to make like visual novels or something.
Oh my God.
And not be very good. Be very, very white about it, you know?
I think you could definitely expect a Shuin Chan video game.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be kind of like, I don't know, those promotional app games that some Twitch streamers and YouTubers make that are just like full of references to the thing itself and are impenetrable as video games to anyone but the audience.
I'm going early 90s Game Pro in my head,
Yeah.
which is very like, hello, children. And so I think this game probably exists on the Genesis or something, but you know, it's a kid with a backwards baseball cap.
Sure.
Fido Dido looking ass with like sunglasses and stuff.
Incredible.
Jumps on things and bounces off of them and dies in one hit like Bubsy, and does the thing that like Aladdin did where it blanks out the background and does an animation when you die, you know, like do that.
Ooh.
Yeah, it'd be something like that, right? They do stuff like that. It'd be like very Hey Kids, right? There'd be like lizards and, you know, they'd do another game about boogers probably. Be like, what do you think about these boogers? That'd be the title of the game. What do you think about these boogers?
That's pretty good.
Wow.
I think it would be fun if something like PlayStation Magazine or Xbox Magazine made fake demo games that were like 10 or 15 minute first act of a video game that otherwise didn't exist. Like kind of the fake trailers of video games.
I used to have this idea that before I knew how anything worked, I liked the idea of someone making, you know, physical video games for the PS1 or whatever, like during its time, you know, that are intentionally like really short and bad. And they're just like $10 stocking stuffer joke games. And I think that's kind of what you're going for here is a similar feel to.
I think the company you're describing is Burger King.
Oh, you know, that did happen. You're right.
Yeah.
That did happen. Okay.
What I want so bad is like 80s Nintendo Power making claymation Mario 64.
Wow.
Just like completely claymation, like stop motion for everything. Just emulating that style. I would eat that up.
I want to point out that Leslie Swan worked at Nintendo Power as her main job and was the voice of Princess Peach.
So they almost kind of did make a video game if you really think about
Mario
it.
64.
Yeah, Mario 64 is the Nintendo Power game.
They need more clay.
It was literally like she was visiting
Yeah.
the office in Japan and they're like, hey, white lady, can you do this voice?
Yeah, everybody played Clay Fighter 63 into third and was like, we need more of that.
Oh my God.
Here's a tough question.
We didn't get to talk about Dave Halverson, but okay, go on.
What would the Famitsu games be like?
I don't know their taste, honestly.
Yeah, that one's difficult.
Like what games did they give 10s? Let's look that up.
Famitsu 40s.
Yeah, I've not read them before.
The first perfect score was Ocarina of Time.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just kind of give them out like candy now, I guess.
I don't know
Yeah.
about all that. They went Soul Calibur and then they went Vagrant Story. You know what? I think we can trust Famitsu to make a good game because they liked Vagrant Story.
They got taste.
They rate Zelda highly.
Yeah.
For the most part.
They gave JoJo's Bizarre Adventure All-Star Battle a perfect score? I don't know.
Wait, When?
in 2013.
Oh, okay, never mind. So we can no longer trust Famitsu's taste, as I was previously saying. No. I mean, they liked Final Fantasy 12 a hell of a lot too, but then they also liked Brawl, Super Smash Bros. Brawl.
Yeah.
Super Smash Bros. Brawl is, how do I say, questionable?
It's cool if you go at Brawl with like you're a kid just playing a game. It's definitely fun, but as a competitive game, no way.
I don't think it's meant to be a competitive game.
It's meant to be anti-competitive, actually,
Right.
in a lot of the systems.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna start getting into the.
It's
the online.
Mario Kart.
Can you
Come on.
imagine? Can you imagine you get the fighting game person in, and they start waxing yet again about fighting games? No, we're not doing it. But
All right, that's time actually.
okay,
but
good.
before time, I just want to point out they gave L.A. Noire a 39 out of 40.
Damn,
Yeah,
That's
Okay.
something.
that's a choice.
I see you, Famitsu.
All right. Has there ever been a good video game ad?
No. Oh, bad.
Ooh,
Oh,
Japan's made a couple good ones.
I really, really like the mobile game ads that I get that
Oh.
are just completely ridiculous, and I'll never
You know?
play them.
yeah.
But
I like
they're-
when they get like the guy from Suits to tell you to play Royal Clash or something.
Oh no, all the ones that are the same ad for the pin game that none of the games
Yeah.
are actually. Yes,
Yeah.
that's my favorite one.
Yeah, all those Evany ads. I can't believe the Come Play My Lord guys are still making moves.
I was about to go there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I get a one where like about a lot of gerbils are standing up and they're trapped in like a thing, and you have
Yeah.
to stop the cave from trapping in on them. And they're like,
Oh,
please
yeah,
help
yeah.
us, please help us, please help us.
Or like you have to stop a king from freezing to death.
Yes, or there's like freezing water in one jar and then there's a bunch of lava in the other. And
Yeah.
the king's like, which one do I open? Which one do I open? Those are cool.
Yeah, I guess those are what video game ads are now.
They are.
The ones that I liked a lot that were like absolutely garbage but also incredible are like the Mafia City ads, because they don't make any goddamn sense.
Oh,
It's just
level
always like,
100
yeah,
scrub.
level 100 crook.
one-
That's how Mafia works.
Yeah.
I literally had to look up a video real quick because I needed to hear the little crappy song they play in the very first ad, because my friends and I constantly made jokes about this. We'd just do something crazy and we just turn around and be like, that's how Mafia works. I don't know. We went with good. Nothing about this is good. There's nothing good here.
Yeah, I mean like an ad that actually makes you want to play a game. Does that exist? Has that ever existed?
One from my youth that has stuck with me, possibly because I'm still surrounded by these stupid magazines, is the magazine ad for Mega Man 3 just said, Mega Man 3, anything else you need to know?
It's pretty good.
That was it.
Damn,
It's
that
like,
is cocky.
It's like, no, sir.
I liked Mega Man 2. I'm in.
Yo, 90s magazine ads were crazy. It could go from anywhere. It could be like, oh, this ad, yeah, it does something. Or it's the Daikatana, John Romero's about to make you his bee,
This ad is borderline sexual harassment.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That could have literally been the copy, what Jeffy just said. This ad is borderline sexual harassment.
And then just the logo for Daikatana.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah. I was going to go Twisted Metal, but
Twisted
that
Metal's
too.
good, yeah.
Yeah.
What were those ads like?
I don't know. Probably something with the clown.
Something with the clown.
Yeah.
Something with the clown.
Clown just like slitting a man's throat open, like very graphically.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I remember when Jeff Lemire's Sweet Tooth comics were coming out, and I was like, they made a comic about the clown from Twisted Metal?
And then they turned into a Netflix series.
Yeah.
Yeah, that character really took off.
Wow.
People don't even remember that he's from Twisted Metal anymore.
Man, it must have been tragic when he lost those antlers. It must have
Yeah.
driven him to clown insanity.
Incredible.
Oh, God. These are some niche jokes here, people.
It was a very popular Netflix series. Come on.
I guess. I guess it is. Robert Downey Jr. produced
It's only for nerds.
It's only for
nerds like me know what Sweet Tooth is.
I'll be honest, I forgot there was a Netflix show.
I didn't know there was a Netflix show. I live under a rock.
Is it an ongoing thing, or was it canceled after one season deal?
Don't know.
I should know this. I work for DC.
Yeah. What the heck, dude?
What the heck? I should be the one. Whatever. Anyway, good video game ads. Has there been one? So far, I'm hearing no.
Yeah, mine was great.
Oh.
Yeah, the Mega Man 3 one is fine.
No, Mafia City. I stand by my decision.
Has that made you play Mafia City?
Absolutely not.
Then no, it's not a good video game ad.
The ad was good and I enjoyed it. Not that it made me play
That's not what an ad is designed to do, Andres. It's designed to make you play the game.
God,
It can be an entertaining ad, but it's not a good ad unless it works.
Oh my
Is
God.
this one that I just posted any good? I can't tell.
I remember that ad. Oh my
yeah,
God.
that one's pretty good.
This is terrifying.
For the video jukebox.
So someone describe this for our listeners.
All right. So we see a guy with a very anguished expression on his face, and he's got a very tall forehead, and he has 6 cartridges plugged into his forehead, labeled software, etc., electronic boutique, Babbage's, Best Buy, Venture Stores, and other locations, which is my favorite game in that series.
And it is an ad for something called the Video Jukebox, which is...
I'm getting there. Don't rush
so
me.
Much pain.
Do not rush me. Yeah, there are little indicator lights by each of those 6 on his head, mind you. The third one's lit up, indicated that the Best Buy Stores cartridge is the one that's currently being played. His eyes are glowing
I'd
red.
say other than the forehead, he looks fairly normal, except his teeth are yellow. I'm not
His
sure
eyes are
why.
glowing red, as if he himself is the console playing these games. And the text here is, the only other way to get nonstop gaming. As if to say, the primary way is to plug games directly into your head from these outlets.
Astounding.
But the secondary way is to subscribe to this Video Jukebox VJ service, which I'm sure no longer exists.
No, it is not a subscription service. Now, look at the photo on the lower left. This is a box that you plug a bunch of games into.
Yeah.
And you can just hot swap your games without having to. It is eliminating the very, very like infomercial, right? Like, oh, there's got to be a better way. It's so hard to switch these games. It is a box that you just put all your games in, and then they're all hot swappable with a button press, right? So it is a jukebox of video game cartridges. And if you read the text, it tells you that you can actually network 6 of these together. If you want to buy 6 of these and have 36 games in your video game jukebox.
Wait a second. They don't install it in your head?
No.
What are you paying
That's the
for?
other way to get nonstop gaming.
I'm going to stick with the way I know and love. Installing it in my forehead.
That's fair.
Okay, now does this ad get better if I tell you that this product never actually made it to store shelves?
It gets it much better that way.
It's incredible at that point.
Okay,
Yes.
good.
It made me pine for something that I can never have, and that is the human condition.
Right?
I think that's the best ad ever made. We'll put this in the show notes. Anyway,
Incredible.
next topic. What is more difficult to do in video games than in real life?
More difficult to do in video games than in real life.
I don't do that many things in real life. Like eating's harder in real life, sleeping's harder.
Right. That most things are harder in real life.
For me, it's like management sims and stuff like that. Like I feel like I have a good handle on just like carrying notes with me and organizing myself in an agenda. But to do that for fun, I can't. It is so hard for me to like manage how much like stuff to put on this farm that I'm now owning and like how much oil to get for this tractor. Like it becomes really stressful and like I'm living another life on top of mine. And I know a lot of people get joy out of those games, but for me, it is the hardest thing to do.
Okay, I like that. And I thought of an answer while you were talking, which is navigate a 3D space. I find that it's a lot easier to get lost in a video game than in real life, to not know like where I am in relation to where I started. Whereas in real life, I don't know, an internal compass or just, I don't know. Like I don't get lost in real life the way I get lost in a 3D environment in a game.
I feel like even with that, I feel like it can be easier to navigate a 3D space sometimes, which is like,
Can be.
I was thinking about it too. I was like, wouldn't just the act of, but to be fair, walking in a video game is just hold direction, but trying to do that in person, we take for granted walking is a complicated process with a lot of moving parts. So you gave me an existentialist crisis there, Jaffe, for a second. I'm like, what is actually?
That's the goal. Try to do that every episode.
Oh, thank you.
Another one I can think of is when you're walking with a friend, it's easier to do that in real life because you can like stay the same speed as them. But in like a video game, a lot of escort missions, you're kind of slightly faster or slightly slower.
Oh, yeah.
It's always a bit awkward.
How about a really specific example, which would be fine motor control over things? Like very much because we see all those games that like games that are like haha hoo hoo. They'll have
Like Surgeon Simulator, that sort of thing.
Yeah, stuff like that, where you gotta like actually perform fine movements that actually are very, very important. You could do that maybe with the assistance of VR, but very, very infrequently, very, very fine, super hyper precise movements tend to be kind of easier with your hands. And there's like a weird meta level to this with like, oh, well, how about speedrunners doing those frame perfect, pixel perfect tricks? And I'm like, just stop.
Oh, that's hard.
That is hard.
That's not easier than doing the thing in real life.
And yeah, Jaffe, can you clip through a wall in real life? I would like to see you clip through the wall. Oops, I clipped through this waterfall. Now I'm going to make Earthbound dump all the memory out of range. You know, like precise movement, in my opinion, much harder in reality. And that's kind of a cop-out answer, but I'm taking it.
You know, Fūnk-é made me think of one like walking with another player, just communicating with other people in like multiplayer is more difficult.
Oh
than
my God.
It
just
is.
communicating with somebody in real life.
Yeah.
It really is.
Like it's very difficult to get exactly what you mean across when it's just like voice chat or text on a screen as opposed to, you know, like trying to coordinate your paintball team. That's easier.
Yeah. Also, usually the first words out of someone's mouth when I'm seeing them in person isn't like a random slur.
Yeah, that's
sometimes
fair.
that happens, but on games, like if I hop on Valorant or something, it's there. Like it'll be like right there in the voice call. Huh. I didn't think about that before, but now that you say
Just
communicating.
communication. Yeah.
Yeah. How crazy, too, because communicating with people online is, by all means, fairly easy as long as that communication is within certain parameters. And in games, all of those are somewhere in a piece of UI that's hard to reach because the game's got to be first and foremost.
And there's the fact that communication is meant to be geared towards a particular goal, and you're just herding cats that way.
Yeah.
It's just an easier thing when you're in person to accomplish a thing. And that's why we should all go back to the office and get rid of this pesky work from home nonsense.
All right, I need to go.
That's
I'm getting
my
up.
stance.
Thank you, everybody.
That's my story. I'm sticking to it. Here's my next question. It's the last question of the show before we go on to the lightning round. This is part of our ongoing segment where we extrapolate on the original question of what is the Citizen Kane of video games. That's long settled law. You could listen to the archives to figure that out for yourself. This week I'd like to ask you, without having actually seen it, because I don't think you're friends with James Cameron, what is the Avatar: The Way of Water of video games?
So that is a promised sequel that's been in development for a long time. And it's a sequel to Avatar, which is a movie that everyone claims to have seen, but I've never known anyone to see.
I've seen it. Couldn't tell you much that happened in it.
I've seen the first one.
Okay, that's actually the thing, right? Is that people saw it and don't remember it.
Yeah, it kind of slid off their brains.
Okay.
But it was also like it brought 3D, or really popularized the 3D black glasses. I remember before that it was a lot of like red and blue, and Avatar was the first one I saw like, whoa, I have to put on these like shades to watch this.
After Avatar, every movie had to have a 3D release for a while.
So it doesn't have to literally be 3D. It could just be like the introduction of a mechanic or a gimmick or
something that
like
a lot of other things. It's a good question. Wow.
Thank you.
I was leaning a little bit on Frank's definition there for a second, where you were like, oh, the first Avatar was this whole thing, and then you've met a lot of people who say they've seen the first Avatar, but they kind of haven't, and then like the next one's like this promise, and it's going to be super cool, but they did eventually release KOF 15, so that doesn't work anymore. Because I know a lot of people that say, oh yeah, I played KOF 14, and I'm like, what? You did? Tell me about it. What was your team? And they'll be like, well, runs away from conversation. I'm like, I see.
By that same token, you could also say Mother 3, a game that came out after a very long anticipation window, and people claim to be big fans of Earthbound, and not a lot of people played it.
But well, no, like Avatar was like a record-breaking movie.
Yes, exactly.
So Earthbound sold to 37 customers.
Yes, exactly.
And all 37 of them loved it, damn it.
That is the entire Starman.net community, yes.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So it's got to be a sequel to something that was very, very popular, but not necessarily, impactful in a technical way, I suppose.
Oh no.
As opposed to a narrative.
No, I mean, there's too many. Like you can just pick any one of these things and make the argument. It doesn't have to be all of these
Andrés?
things.
Oh no, it's
Andrés?
Duke Nukem. It's Duke Nukem Forever.
It's Duke Nukem Forever, baby. Sound the air horn right here. Congratulations, you got it.
It's Duke Nukem Forever.
You're right.
I'm so angry that
That
suddenly
was the
coalesced in
secret
my head.
answer. You got it. Duke Nukem Forever is the Avatar: The Way of Water video game.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I don't agree though, because Duke Nukem actually had a following. Duke Nukem 3D. Like,
Yeah, that's
people
the
love
point.
that stuff.
There's a small Avatar following.
Avatar
Yeah,
has
Avatar
a
has a
theme park. It influenced how games were. It influenced how
Well,
movies
I understand
were made.
that Avatar continues to be marketed, but does
Yeah.
anyone like it?
Yeah, there's a dude in Canada who tattooed himself
There's
blue.
a dude in Canada.
No, he tattooed himself blue to look like an avatar.
A Navi. Yeah.
A Navi, sorry. And then I saw there was a group of people who like can speak Navi as well.
Yeah, but that's a very niche community. That's more in line with
Right.
like the Earthbound people who are
True.
very, very passionate about this one thing.
Well, and then 3, the translation patch came out for 3, and like none of those people played it or talked about it. So that might be
Yeah.
happening here.
I don't know. I think the Way of Water is gonna blow everybody away. It's gonna defeat all the naysayers. It's gonna come out and people are gonna be like, "I'm sorry, I ever doubted
Like
it."
I'm gonna have to watch it just because it's all of the hype is just constricting me. And
Yeah, everybody's got to watch it. It's mandatory.
Just like DNF, huh? Just like DNF.
Just like
Oh,
DNF.
God.
Maybe that's the way to go to it. What's a game you feel like you had to play even though you weren't really enthusiastic about it?
Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh, that's a
Um,
good one.
I was exhausted.
God.
It was like the first few months where I started working full time in games at Fanbyte, and I just couldn't escape hearing from it, just from my coworkers, from Twitter, from everything, and I really wasn't that excited for it. But it was one of those things where I'm like, okay, the game's out. I have nothing to do today. Why don't I just play it? And I really didn't enjoy it for the first 20 hours. But then I was like, it's nothing bad. I kind of enjoyed some of the later parts of this narrative work and the stuff they do with Pan Am and the Badlands and how they put Night City into perspective. But yeah, the hype was something that just pushed me to play it, even though I didn't care about it for the 10 years since it was announced.
You would feel like you were being left out of the cultural conversation if you didn't play it.
Absolutely. It was like homework kind of for me.
Oh,
Apparently
man.
it's good now. That's what I hear. I hear it's good now that they fixed everything.
I have an answer to that. It's kind of weirdly personal too, because I did mention earlier that I was playing Final Fantasy XIV. I fell into the hole of that. I resisted playing Final Fantasy XIV for years. And I'm like a huge Final Fantasy like lover. Like I love Final Fantasy series. But in the same way that I kind of played 11 for like a little bit, and then I kind of just moved on for it. I didn't really care for the MMO. I'm very burned on MMOs. I really don't like MMO games that much anymore. And everyone was kind of telling me, no, you're going to like it. It's going to be great. And I had friends. And then little by little, more and more people around me slowly started getting into it. And I resisted for so long. I always used to say, I was like, yeah, I'm the last bastion of people that refuses to play this game, right? I just don't want to play another MMO. And then people were telling me, oh yeah, the base game is really whatever, but after the first expansion, you really like it. And damn it, they were right. Like the first game,
That's what I hear.
They got
A Realm
you.
Reborn sucks. A Realm Reborn sucks. It's Fetch Quest 14. It was such a drag. Like the story was kind of okay, but I'm like supposed to be the hero of light, and they're out here having me fold laundry. I was like, get me out of here. But then you hit Heaven's Word, and Heaven's Word is legitimately one of my favorite games. Not MMOs. I'm saying like stories in the game. Heaven's Word is up there. It is strong. It is well written. It's well paced. I was like, MMOs can do this? And then, you start playing it more and more, and you're like, okay, well, the next expansion is not so great, but then Shadowbringers is supposed to be incredible, and so is Endwalker. And yeah, and they get you. That's how they get you. And the game is such a love letter to people who like Final Fantasy that it's hard not to love it for that.
Right.
It's not trying to be like pandering, but it pulls like little bits of its own lore to show you, like a Final Fantasy usually does by reintroducing similar names or leitmotifs or stuff like that. But in this case, they straight up pull whole chunks of story. Like if you like Final Fantasy 12, you visit the world, basically quote unquote the world of Final Fantasy 12. It's a little bit like a second interpretation, alternate universe of it. But like you go to Dalmasca, you meet characters from that era. Some characters are named after those characters. It's really good. And I'm upset that it's good.
And Nier's in there too, right?
Yeah, that's a whole real raid. It's not like you go there and it's a seasonal thing. No. if once I get the Shadowbringers, I could just go to near braids and I just go get near gear, which everyone likes because it makes your character's butt larger. This is true, by the way.
It's a good argument, but I think we're still going to stick with Duke Nukem Forever as the answer.
No, Duke Nukem Forever is.
That's my settled rule here. It's time for a lightning round. First, I have to ask, do any of you know anything about tarot?
Like tarot cards?
Yeah.
Very little.
No.
That the cards look nice?
Oh, I know that, actually. Yeah, I got that.
That's
Yeah.
fine.
Universally, every tarot card looks nice. Yes.
I've seen them.
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to name one of the major arcana from a tarot deck, and you're going to assign a video game to represent it.
Oh, I can do that.
Let's get started. Number 1, The Magician.
That's Magician for the NES.
Magician Lord.
Magician. Halo 3, when Master Chief uses the bubble shield, he's kind of like popping out of a hat like he's a rabbit.
Fantastic.
Point goes to Frank. Our next one is The High Priestess.
Oh, that's the High Priestess for the NES. No, that's not a thing.
Wait, hold on. The High Priestess?
Yes, The High Priestess.
The High Priestess. Oh, man.
You have to name an existing video game, right?
Yeah.
Not make one up? Okay.
No, you're naming an existing video game to represent this tarot card.
The High Priestess Bayonetta, I think. Honestly.
In that nun outfit? Yeah.
Yeah, I think
that's
the High
it,
Priestess Bayonetta.
I respect it.
Okay, point to Andres. Next one. The Hierophant.
The Hierophant?
The what?
The Hierophant.
Can we get a description of
A
it?
Hierophant? You know, the Hierophant, the 5th card of the Major Arcana in occult tarot decks. It's derived from the historical card known as the Pope in playing card decks.
Near Automata.
I would go with, and this is going to be a little weirdly weird, Civilization.
I kind of like
Specifically 2.
that. Civilization 2. Yeah, I'm going to give you the point on that one.
The other one I was going to go with was King of Dragon Pass.
Oh, that's another good one, but I like Civ 2. Our next one is The Lovers.
That's Lovers in a Dangerous Space-Time.
Whoa,
Yeah.
I was thinking that too. Oh my gosh. Good game.
Frank got it. The Chariot.
Ridge Racer.
That is the Software Toolworks logo.
Red Dead
Just
Redemption, Undead Nightmare.
That's good, but I like Ridge Racer. That's our Chariot.
Ridge Racer.
Number 6 is Justice.
Ace Attorney. Specifically 3.
Superman 64.
Oh, God. I had a flashback.
I don't know. Just to counter Ace Attorney, it's Perry Mason for MS-DOS.
No, we're going back
that's
first.
good.
I mean, what you should have said was Apollo Justice, which is the 4th Ace Attorney game.
No, we want the third one.
I like the third one a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I like the fourth one almost as much. So I agree with you on that one, Jaffe.
Our next one is The Wheel of Fortune.
The Wheel of Fortune for PC DOS. Specifically the PC DOS version that is played in CGA.
Damn it.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
The Hanged Man.
Someone mentioned Red Dead Redemption earlier, and I think now it seems appropriate.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a
better one.
mission in Red Dead Redemption that's, I think I've said this on the show before, but my first impression of Red Dead Redemption was very disappointing because it was a press event and they set up a guy who was hanging and you had to go rescue him from being hung.
What the hell?
And I'm like, oh, it's the ending of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Shoot the rope. And they're like, oh, you can't do that. You gotta run up to him and press a button. It's like, but you set up The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. You set up the most famous scene in any Western ever. And yeah, you can't do that.
That's disappointing.
Oh my gosh. When you said press event, I thought you meant they had an actor hanging up and they're
No.
journalists go over. And
Yeah,
save
that is
this
what I
guy."
thought too for a second.
There was a Sony event that had people hanging from the rafters, though.
Oh, Jesus.
Good heavens.
Good heavens. I'm giving that to Andres. Our next one is The Tower.
Bioshock?
Tower Fall?
Can you beat Towerfall, Andres?
There's a couple of ideas I have about the tower. One of them is Downwell,
That's kind of the opposite of
but
a
it's the
tower.
opposite direction. And so I'm just going to submit Downwell and I'm going to because the other one's weirdly esoteric and I'm just not.
I'm giving the point to Frank because the word tower is in the title of the game.
The other one, Final Fantasy IV.
Oh, that would have been a good one. I would have given that point to you, but you said Downwell.
Yeah, I'm sticking to Downwell because it's the first thing I thought of. It's a lightning round.
All right. Our last point is The Fool.
God, there's so many good ones for the Fool. It's actually hard to pick just one.
Oh, I got it. Chester Cheetah, Too Cool to Fool.
That's it.
That's pretty good.
Canonically the Fool. I'm tallying up the points here, and Andres, you're our winner this week. Congratulations.
Oh, thank God.
Squeaker, your prize is that you're going to submit a question to me off mic that I'm going to use to introduce next week's episode. You have 1 week to come up with it. Homework. Congratulations. This is the part of the show where we can plug the things we're working on to our audience and also recommend stuff that we're enjoying or actions that we wish our audience should take between this episode and our next release. Frank, go.
What day does this show come out?
This show comes out on Monday, the 14th of November.
Okay. I don't think this will be out literally on Monday, but sometime this week, if you're into the sort of historical preservation stuff that we do, we're going to show off this wonderful article by the wonderful Phil Salvador, who I'm saying is wonderful because he's feet away from me right now in the office. Otherwise, I would not say nice things about him. About Simcopter 64, which is N64 game that never came out, that has a very confusing and weird development history and would have been a disaster had it come out. And there's going to be a ROM attached too, so you can mess with it. So look forward to that on gamehistory.org.
I will.
Nice.
Andres, you got anything?
Yeah, sure. I'll self-plug here for once. One of the things I've been doing with my time is that, as you all know, I'm a big fan of the King of Fighters. I have been working with Tampa Never Sleeps, who are streamers of several different fighting games. They stream Strive, they stream Marvel vs. Capcom 3, and they stream the King of Fighters 15, usually on Wednesdays. I am, on occasion, on the microphone there doing commentary, so if you want to come check out some of the best North American players and PC, because there's no crossplay for the King of Fighters 15, but if you want to come check out some of the top players for that, and you want to have a good time, you want to watch, like what the game looks like, or you want to just have a good time, hang out with us, twitch.tv/Tampa Never Sleeps. Tong, the guy that runs it, is a great guy. All the people that I work with there are awesome. Lucas, Proxy, King Jobber, there's a lot of people, Lena, all these people who are just awesome, and they put on a production basically for free every week. They do it several times a week for different games, but every week, King of Fighters 15, that's the one I'm involved in. There's a bunch of other fighting games there that you can check out, and it's free to join online too, which is pretty rad if you want to play at all. If you want to just come watch, twitch.tv/Tampa Never Sleeps. We'd love to have you there.
Nice.
All right. Fūnk-é, what you got?
What have I got? I've been up to a lot of reading comics and just getting more into that. I'm reading a book on how to make comics now. I've never done it before, but I really love reading them and animation.
Would it be Scott McCloud's making comics?
Yes, sir. I got it right here. Halfway through.
Do you have the prerequisite, though, Scott McCloud's understanding comics?
No, I'm actually starting with the sequel, then I'll hit the prequel.
Okay.
But yeah.
I recently read Alan Moore's writing for comics. I'd recommend that. That's a neat little text.
Oh, yes, I will absolutely get on that. But yeah, I've been just working on a comic with some friends, and that's fun. That'll probably be ready, I don't know, sometime. But something I've been more actively working on is a YouTube series that's a bit of a retrospective, but also covering new games with a short critique wrapped in why I like this piece of media and why I want to share that with specifically my friends and family who don't really play games. So it would really be breaking down the game and showing people, hey, video games are cool. And even if you don't really think you enjoy games, I think you would enjoy this. And the first game in the series is going to be Mirror's Edge, which I've been playing a lot of, and reading a lot of. And yeah, it's one of my favorite games. So I want to...
Speaking of fast 3D movement. Yeah.
Yes, parkour.
I was hoping you'd bring that up in the Sonic question. I kind of wrote that thinking you would. That's why you didn't win the episode, I'm afraid.
No.
Part of my secret scoring rubric.
I think it's rigged. Yeah, but you can check out what I'm doing on the EVA website at Fūnk-é Fly, FUNKE-FLY, or on my own site, which is funke.cargo.site.
Terrific. Well, I have some recommendations of my own. I'd like to recommend that if you're listening to this show in some format where you can subscribe to us or review podcasts, that you do that for us to keep the algorithms happy and in our favor. You could also go to patreon.com/insertcredit, as aforementioned, where you could become a patron to submit your own topics, listen to monthly bonus episodes, and get other exclusive content. You can also join our community at forums.insertcredit.com or look for Insert Credit on YouTube. This show is edited by Esper Quinn with original music by Kurt Feldman. I'm Alex Jaffe.
I'm Frank Cifaldi.
I'm Andrés Velasco Coll.
I'm Fūnk-é Joseph.
And this is my sign-off for this week. Yeah,
Later.
I didn't write one.
Oh, God.
I have to go see my mother, who is in town. We're going to get
Hi,
dinner.
Mom.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Jaffe's mom.